Hey guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're on the YouTube account and we've already covered the 4 primary factions. So today we're going to be looking at our Celestial Heroes. So we're going to run through our tier list. I'm going to come back here and show you kind of how to build them out. Now it is a little bit more difficult with the tier list, guys, because they are the rare heroes. Celestials, the Hypogeans, of course, are the most rare heroes within AFK Arena, short of the Awakened heroes. But with the sheer number of heroes that we do have within the faction, a little bit more difficult from the tier list, but let's go ahead and check it out. All right, guys, so here we are looking at the tier list. So I'm going to start from the top with the priority. First one, of course, we do have the Awakened version of Taylene. Now, she is still utilized within the Twisted Realm. We see her within the Cursed Realm. We also see her in multiple game modes, including the Tower. She is a damage dealer. She is a support hero. She does provide a shielding, plus also the SP effect that we see, followed by Alna. Now, Alna is a formation absolute priority build. She is actually one of the heroes, or the second hero you'll build right after building Lucretia. Reason for her, guys, is she does give immunity to tanks, which makes her super powerful and has a lot of utility within different game modes. And we also see her giving the ability for other heroes to scale, which is the reason why we do build her. Now, when it comes to Halos, he is probably one of the very solid utility heroes. We see him within multiple game modes in literally pretty much every game mode, from Twisted Realm, Cursed Realm. We see him in the Rift. We see him in a lot of campaign formations. In PvP, he does make an appearance, guys, in an incredible amount of AFK Arena content, which is similar to the Twins. So the Twins are really the driving force of the haste buff with their ultimate ability, and also the link that they do provide between the front two targets. Now, they're very unique in the haste ability they have, which makes them a priority, absolutely top when it comes to boss fights, guys. And essentially, the way that I build them is you can get one single copy of them at Elite. They will work. If they are starting to die out in formations before the formation has ended, or before the boss fight has ended, that is the time you do need to build them up a little bit higher, start getting signature item on them, eventually getting furniture on them as you continue to build them up. Now, looking at the buff and support, this was, again, kind of a little bit of a tough one. The original version of Taylene still does pretty well. We see her again in a lot of Cursed Realm comps. We do see her pop up in different formations in AFK Arena, including the Temporal Rift. Because she is a support class hero, she still does work incredibly well with the healing. And if she dies in combat, similar to the Awakened Taylene, she comes back to life, which is very, very cool to see. Now, looking here, formations, again, were a little bit different and difficult to deal. Formations, I use Zafriel and I do use Athalia within campaign formations. Even into Chapter 44, we see it sometimes with the Thorn Cheese. We've also seen it with the Invade team, a couple different formations that Zafriel has been in. Now, in addition, guys, Zafriel does a lot of crowd control, but he also does a considerable amount of damage, which makes him a big priority when it comes to the Celestial Tower, just because of the damage and the crowd control he does, which is the exact same when we look at Athalia. Athalia does an incredible amount of damage within the tower. A lot of these heroes, again, I know they are more expensive to build out, but their utility is there. The bleed effect when you build out Athalia is a game changer when it comes to the damage. And then coupled with Zolrath. So that is why I couldn't put Zolrath in the niche category here, just because he requires a very specific formation. So when he ults, the enemy, I believe with the highest combat rating, will still move, which means that you might have to manipulate a lot of things in here to get it to work, or some players will just forget it and just run it auto to see what happens. But ultimately, guys, to get a hero like Athalia to continue to attack, or even getting a hero like our Taylenes with the copy of Orthos, you're going to have to play with the furniture or the gear or some of the things that we can actually alter within heroes themselves to allow you to continue with the strongest hero moving when he does ult. Now, looking at the tower, I kind of combine this with the PvP aspect as well, because in the tower, guys, Flora does incredibly well. She used to be in a lot of PvP formations. As of now, she is not. Same with More Real, guys. It seems like More Real might fall into kind of this niche category, might almost fall within this not used category. Since we continue to add more heroes to AFK Arena, she used to be one of the driving forces in Dark Namora within the temporal rift, or not the temporal rift, excuse me, the boss fights. I'm drawing a blank on it, but the boss fights, she has since been replaced by the awakened version of Solus, but it is Dark Tomorrow where we were utilizing her. And then there were also a couple Cursed Realm comps that we were using her as well, which again, it was her in a combination with Torn. A lot of those best in slot formations have kind of been replaced, so she might still have a slot within there, but ultimately, guys, it seems like she is pretty limited in the utility, which again, we could kind of put her in this niche category. Within the tower, the crowd control is little. She doesn't do an incredible amount of damage, but ultimately she worked in one formation, which it isn't very prevalent anymore. Now, when it comes to Audrey, PvP tower, absolutely, she does an incredible amount of damage in both. She is a big priority in both, which is the exact same thing with Tarnos. Tarnos, PvP, and the tower, guys. He is absolutely just crushing it in those two game modes. In campaign formations, we're not seeing him at all. Even within, again, the Twisted Realm and the Cursed Realm, and it is TR Twisted Realm, we are not really seeing him in the best in slot formations. Again, it seems like he has been built and made for the PvP aspect, which is pretty interesting. Now, PvP, guys, Wukong doesn't really fall into anywhere. I mean, short of just literally a filler slot because you have copies within the tower. That would really be the only utility. And then we have our tank Titus. Now, some players do utilize Titus for PvP, but again, it is so far down the priority list. There are a couple other options. Again, if you have him completely built out because you're a whale in AFK arena, then definitely you could use him. But short of the PvP aspect for even both of these, the PvP aspect, I feel like a lot of players are not running him within here because we're having and seeing them being replaced by heroes like Tarnos that do a lot better. So guys, let's go ahead and look at building out these heroes. All right, guys, so back to the Celestial heroes. We're going to start right from the top. Now, building out Flora, guys, plus 20 signature item is all that Flora needs. She will do incredibly well. You don't have to take her to the plus 30. You don't have to get furniture on her. You don't have to engrave her. Plus 20, her damage will be there. I built her up just because I like the hero herself. I like how she works. You could build her a little bit higher for the tower, but ultimately not needed because you can do the retries in there. Again, she used to be kind of in the stall team, and we don't see her as prevalent now within that PvP formations. Wukong, he is a hero that does not scale very well, even in formation, short of possibly, like I said, a filler within the tower. Getting a plus 20 on him will work. I wouldn't even put furniture on him unless you do want to utilize him. But again, he is so far down the priority list. He is not used for anything outside of just really fodder within the tower to really make the progression. Early game, just because you get a lot of copies of him, he can work early game. As you start getting mid-late game, he has no place in any formation anywhere, just a filler possibly for the tower. Now looking at Athalia, Athalia is a hero that you do want to build out, guys. 30960, so building her completely out is this bleed effect, guys. The bleed effect for her does incredibly well when you throw the furniture on there. So when you actually add in this furniture, this again increases the normal attack, so doing more damage. Then you couple on top of there with the multiplier factor when you do the plus 60 engraving, guys. It is very strong. The stat increase received by the skill is multiplied 1.5 times. And of course, guys, each living ally increases Athalia's damage, so her specifically, meaning that she is going to be pumping out an incredible amount of damage. And she does, guys. She is probably one of the absolute best burst heroes we see within AFK Arena. She is the original Celestial, and she still works incredibly well. Now, looking at Alna, big thing on her, guys, plus 20 signature item will do 9 of 9 furniture. Her furniture is an absolute priority, guys. This is the priority you want to build, the 9 of 9 furniture. Engraving, Alna doesn't need it. I built her up just because I built a lot of the heroes within here. But overall, guys, the plus 30, the plus 60 is not needed. It is significantly far down the priority list compared to other heroes. So again, the 209 on Alna will work incredibly well. Now looking at Taylene, she is a hero. I got her to a plus 35 signature item. And the big reason behind that, guys, is we have to continue to increase her combat rating. So she is the strongest one within formations. But ultimately, guys, getting her to the plus 30, getting her to the 9 of 9 furniture will work well. It's actually the 3 of 9, but 9 of 9 ultimately, if you are going to use the hero, it does work pretty well because this allows her to actually come back to life a little bit quicker. The engraving on her, for the exact same reason, guys, I built her out to be a little bit stronger for the combat rating, but it is not really required for her to have the engraving. I would do a plus 30 signature item, which is good, and then I would do the 9 of 9 furniture again to kind of build her out. Now the twins, again, building out as needed, guys. Once you get them to mythic, take them to a plus 20 signature item. Once you do get them to ascended because they're dying out in formations, you'll want to add the furniture on there. And then ultimately the engraving, again, is not really required for this hero. The 209 ultimately when they're ascended will work. Engraving, not a huge requirement unless they're dying out within formations. Looking at Halos, guys, 30960, he is a hero you would build absolutely and completely to the top, guys. Again, 309, 9 of 9 furniture, and then a plus 60 engraving. This is a game-changing hero. That is the reason he is one of the top priorities when it comes to our Celestial hero. And then this one, guys, of course, will give an energy recovery. Big thing in here, guys, the last little line, Halos has no recovery limit. That is right, guys. This is going to be super, super strong when you build them out to the plus 60. When you get to the 9 of 9, you will see the game-changing difference from this hero. When you get him to the plus 60, it is kind of the second tier with the game-changing and how well he does within formations. Now, Muriel, again, because she is a caster, because she is damage dealing, you do want to build her out. But ultimately, she short of the tower, she doesn't have much of a utility anymore. Again, she has been slowly dropping out of the best in slot when it comes to the cursed realm. So ultimately, guys, I would take her to a plus 20. You could put furniture on her. It does help a little bit, again, dealing with the damage factor that she has. The engraving at this point, I would probably just go ahead and skip the engraving on her. Again, just for the fact that we're seeing her utility drop considerably. If we start seeing her, having a lot more utility, being used in a couple more formations, we might actually bump up her utility or how we would build her. I literally built her for the Twisted Realm. User in the Twisted Realm has since replaced her with the Awakened version of Soulless, so she's not used there. And then again, like I said, she's dropping out of a lot of the Cursed Realm comps as well because we're finding better formations that are working with the addition of new heroes. Now, Zafriel, 30960, guys, he is a hero that is very, very big damage-wise, but also the crowd control aspect of it works very well. He is a hero that, again, building him out, furniture makes a big difference on him with the ability to stun heroes. Absolutely, guys, stunned 2 seconds, cannot be stunned every 8 seconds. That means, guys, a lot of heroes and a lot of players that are hitting Zafriel are going to get stunned, which is very strong. And of course, Thunderstorm targets an additional target. Absolutely want to do that. Now, of course, the damage is going to come from both of these guys. Plus 30, plus 60 is going to allow him to the survivability issues. He's used in the tower. He's used for quite a bit of formations. I use him in the campaign. We haven't really seen him Twisted Realm and Cursed Realm as of lately, but ultimately, guys, he is still a very, very strong, solid hero to build. Now, Audrey is another one, guys. The plus 30, 9 of 9 furniture, plus 60 engraving, just like most of our Celestial heroes. This is actually a big game changer, guys, because it gives her a defense reduction in addition to amplifying the damage that we see here. Plus 30, plus 60, definitely 30960 on a star, or excuse me, Audrey. Audrey needs 2 pieces of furniture, and I will actually have her up to 9 of 9. But again, this is the damage, guys. That is what you want her for. PvP formations damage, tower formations damage. We actually did see her in the Curse Realm, but I believe now she has been replaced by Valoris, if I'm not mistaken, within a comp. But ultimately, guys, she has a lot of utility. Because you're limited to the damage dealers we see within the Celestial Tower, she is a definite hero to build. Now, Orthos, one of our older heroes, ultimately, If you don't have him built, there's a couple other kind of different switch filler heroes that you can put in there. That is the reason why he's kind of niche. He's a little bit of a lower priority. And ultimately, when you're dealing with his ultimate, you have to, one, keep him alive, and then two, kind of get it targeted to the highest combat rating hero, which again can kind of be a pain. If you're going in and removing furniture from a bunch of different heroes, you're affecting the formation just because your heroes with combat rating are not high enough, which is the reason why, guys, he's a little bit lower on the tier list. Again, he does fill kind of the niche formation, but that is if you have him built. Furniture, we did 9 of 9 on him because of the haste. Allied haste is increased by 35% while moving during time suspension. If that is coupled with a hero like Athalia, a hero like Taylene, it will be a lot more damage they are putting out because every time he ults, that hero will continue to move. So again, if you're going to build out Orthos, guys, the 309 is really good. I didn't even build the engraving. There's not really a big push for that. Awakened version of Taylene, similar to all of our Awakened heroes, guys, has to be built out to the max. The reason for that, guys, is these skills. So you can see even here, guys, we are missing signature item. We are missing the furniture. We are missing the engraving, which means right here, we're missing probably about 50% of her stats in their entirety because we have the baseline for all of the abilities, which is the reason why all the Awakened heroes, short of the Awakened version of Aziz, needs to be built out, guys. Now I would probably put in about the 4th priority. Getting an Awakened version of Solus, and then getting Brutus, and then probably Thane would be my choices before I would go ahead and build out Taylene. You can merc her, use her for a lot of the places that she is required with the merked version. But again, ultimately, I would put her probably about 3rd down the list, short of the Awakened version of Solus, and Aziz, of course, being at the bottom. Sorry, guys, so that'll do it for our Celestial heroes. Oh, that's right, we have 2 more that I don't even have. Tarnos, again, heavy PvP. We see him being completely maxed out for the PvP aspect with the engraving aspect as well, guys, which is the reason why he requires a really big investment. We knew as soon as we seen him when he came out that he would require a significant investment, and it is ringing true, guys. He does significant damage in the tower. Also PvP, he is an absolute god within that game mode. We see him in the treasure scramble, a lot of different places, but again, he is a very, very high investment. And then of course, Titus is a tank that is not really used, guys. I don't even use him within the tower. Even a lot of players that have him built out don't really find the utility with him. He can, I will leave it up to you guys if you pick and choose to build out Titus. Overall, again, I don't see him in many formations, possibly in a PvP formation here and there, but overall, guys, I do not see him utilized within very many team comps. And I believe that is all of them, guys. I think we have all of them, which we do, with the addition of Tarnos in there. So, all right, guys, so that'll do it for our Celestial tier list. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of my selections and the formations. And as always, thank you guys for watching.